Welcome to the Beyond You podcast, where we have real conversations about healing, trusting yourself again, and building the kind of relationships that actually feel good. I'm Samantha, and if you've ever felt like you're just going through the motions, like you're doing all the right things but still feeling disconnected, you're in the right place. Because here we go beyond the surface, beyond the hurt, beyond the patterns that keep you stuck. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Yes, we have heard that love conquers all, but what if you have ever been in a relationship where you love someone deeply, you felt unseen, unheard, unwanted, and I wanted to make sure you know that there are times when love isn't enough, when facing emotional incompatibility just in relationships is just a thing, right? And so a lot of times emotional incompatibility can quietly just eat away at a relationship even when the feelings are strong. So in this, I wrote this a little bit more, it's in my blog post, but I wanted to be able to talk deeply about this in person just for you to understand that being able to just understanding emotional incompatibility, right? And so I made sure to take some notes with this to make sure really back into this. So emotional incompatibility happens when two people's emotional needs, communication styles, or coping mechanisms just don't line up. So you can care about each other, but still feel like you're speaking different languages. And a lot of times we don't realize this happens because we try to do whatever we can to be able to make things work. And so for instance, you might be someone who wants to talk about things as soon as they happen, where your partner tends to be the one that just wants to shut down and not talk about it at all. And so no matter how much you love each other, understand that mismatch can leave you feeling frustrated and unheard a lot of the times. And so with emotional incompatibility, I want you to realize and just seeing on what the person's emotional capacity is at that moment versus trying to make it work to what you want it to be. So understand that number two, it's not about the lack of love that's there. So I just want to be clear about that, because one of the hardest things to accept is that when it comes to compatibility, doesn't mean there's no love. There's so much love that can be there, but also the compatibility is just not working, right? So understand that you can be able to adore someone and still find that a relationship drains you instead of nourishing you. You want those relationships to be able to nourish you and just nourish who you are, become more of yourself. And so I want you to be able to think about those moments when you plan a cozy weekend at home because quality time fills your cup, right? But your partner craves being out with friends and going out all the time and going to, some people, the younger people, going to the club or going different things, that it doesn't mean that both preferences aren't valid, but what it does means is just this tug of war that create just resentment and emotional distance a lot of the times because you're trying to connect in two different ways. And so I want you to be able to truly be able to recognize the signs when this is happening, right? Because it is easy to dismiss the tension that is just going through a rough patch. A lot of people say, right? We're just going through a rough time period, but there are red flags that point to deeper incompatibility. So I want you to be able to just recognize what those are. And an example could be something like, you may feel like you're walking on eggshells whenever you share your feelings, right? You're saying something that really matters to you. You're saying your needs, you're saying things that are going just wrong with you, and you feel like you can't be able to share that because you don't know what the person feels like or how they're going to respond to different situations. And that is exhausting, to be able to feel like you have to consistently try to figure out on how someone's feeling or how someone's doing in something. And sometimes maybe you notice that the same arguments can keep just coming back over and over, no matter how many heart-to-hearts that you have, right? It's just this pattern that keeps happening. And you might even feel lonely in the relationship than you did when you were single. All these things are just signs of emotional incompatibility, because it takes two people to make their relationship work, and someone that's willing to just kind of work on their emotional compatibility with you, right? And so a lot of times what happens is there's this facing this fear of letting go that really sticks out. And so admitting that love isn't enough can be very heartbreaking overall, because many people stay in these incompatible relationships for years and just live like roommates. A lot of times because they don't want to start over, or because they remember the good times and keep holding things just holding on to things and hoping they will return and how they used to be. And sometimes we get so focused on how it was in the honeymoon phase that we don't want to see anything else in that space. And we have to be able to understand that as we continue to get to know people is when we start to kind of see more and more of just how they are. And so understand, I want you to picture staying in a relationship when you're constantly compromising your emotional needs just to keep the peace. And understand, when you're keeping the peace, it doesn't keep the peace for anyone else but everybody else, right? It doesn't keep it for yourself at all. It's not keeping the peace for you. It's not even thinking about you. And it's exhausting because it can solely erode your sense of self when that happens. And so in this, I want you to be able to move forward just with clarity, right? When we're facing emotional incompatibility, it doesn't always mean you have to break up. Sometimes it just opens the door to deeper conversations. So I don't want to feel like you have to just end the relationship right now. But it opens the door to deeper conversations just with therapy or real changes that brings you closer and just kind of saying what's here. And other times it means acknowledging that walking away is the healthiest choice for both people. So really seeing on just what is it that you want to be able to pour into. So either way, it's about being honest with yourself, okay? About what you need and whether your relationship can truly meet those needs. And understand, if someone is saying, you're saying exactly what you need, and someone is saying it's too much, it's just the incompatibility there. It doesn't mean that you're too much, you're saying it's too much. It just doesn't match with that person. And I want you to know that you deserve more than just love, okay? Because I understand that love is beautiful. It's this beautiful risk, but it's not the only ingredient for a healthy, fulfilling relationship. And so you deserve a connection where you feel safe, heard, and valued, where your emotional needs aren't treated as too much. So understand, if you're unsure whether you're ready for love right now, I have just like a free tool that you can be able to use, the Am I Ready for Love self-reflection tool. And it's designed to help you just slow down, look inward, and get honest about what you need before giving your heart again. And if you felt like you're losing touch with yourself, know that I have I Miss Me journal, because I understand that we lose ourselves a lot of times in these relationships, which I'll talk about in my podcast episode of Codependent to Connection, which you can be able to check out. Understand that we can be able to help you reconnect with the person you've always been at your core. And if you have any questions about this or something that resonates with you, I want to be able to hear it below, because I want to be able to make content that you can be able to just have your questions answered. And understand that if you have been following me for quite a bit, you're probably not subscribed. So I want you to be able to subscribe to make sure that you share this episode so you get out to more people. And I cannot wait to be able to just talk to you next week in the next episode. Talk to you soon.